Around 2 in 100 people have avoidant personality disorder, and many more have traits of it. The core of this is feeling that you're not good enough, inferior, broken, and that you need to be fixed. This isn't to be confused with an avoidant attachment style, which focuses mainly on how someone shows up in relationships. Avoidant personality disorder affects all areas of this person's life. When you hear the term avoidant, people are usually referring to someone's attachment style. And when someone has avoidant attachment, they don't necessarily and often don't fulfill all criteria for a full personality disorder. And if they do, it could also be another personality disorder, not just avoidant personality disorder. In the DSM-5, the core trait of avoidant personality disorder is characterized as a pattern of feeling inadequate and of avoiding situations that could make you feel inadequate, and of fixating on instances in which you were ridiculed or criticized by others. This means someone with this personality disorder will find themselves unappealing to others. They think that they're uninteresting, inferior, and incompetent. And they will avoid situations that could theoretically expose them to rejection or criticism in all areas of life, at work and at home, and they'll feel inhibited and anxious in social situations. The difference between social anxiety disorder or social phobia and avoidant personality disorder is that when someone has social anxiety disorder, they're focused on a few specific situations or just one that make them anxious, like fear of eating in public or public speaking. And that's often easier to change, even if the person has panic attacks in these situations. The avoidant behavior in avoidant personality disorder is spread out onto someone's whole life. So it's not just one situation, it's everything. And it comes from a deeper reaching sense of being completely inadequate. Even if the person doesn't have panic attacks, that's harder to change. Not impossible, but harder. People with avoidant personality disorder can have any of the 3 insecure attachment styles. They can be in long-term relationships or not. Their insecurities can be visible to others or not as well. And since it sounds so similar, I shortly want to dive into describing what it's like when someone has avoidant attachment and avoidant personality disorder. When someone has avoidant personality disorder and avoidant attachment, they will show up like someone with avoidant attachment in a relationship. And for them, often everything starts out quite regularly, so not love bombing or anything like that. And then after a while, for someone who has avoidant personality disorder and avoidant attachment, they will probably pull back in a relationship out of fear of not being good enough for their partner and getting rejected. This pulling back can be direct by voicing that they want to break up, or it can be indirect, subconscious, by sabotaging behaviors like fixating on their partner's flaws or being so stressful in the relationship that it strains their partner's energy and eventually their partner breaks up with them. These double avoidance, so to say, on the dimension of personality and attachment often have a pattern of short dating phases, but no long-term relationships, never making it across that threshold. And of course, if their avoidance is very severe, they might also not have any or a lot of dating experience as well. In less severe forms, someone with avoidant personality disorder and avoidant attachment can have a long-term committed relationship, but they will feel inadequate in it and hold back from fully opening themselves up and being vulnerable and standing up for themselves in conflict. A key component of avoidant personality disorder is not trusting your instincts and inner voice. You might notice this by not really knowing what you want or finding it hard to tell and having a hard time advocating for it. You can also notice this if you often find it hard to tell what you're allowed to feel and what is inappropriate. And to answer that right here now, the question itself comes from insecurity because emotions are always adequate. Of course, you don't have to act on all of them, but in themselves, emotions are just feedback from your body, how your environment and how you're perceiving your environment through your own psyche, how that is affecting you. And that is always important to register and take seriously. Often people with avoidant personality disorder are also filled with regrets due to not acting on their instincts and inner voice and not doing what they want to do or what matters to them. And these regrets are often focused on mistakes, social faux pas, and missed opportunities. And that can make you spend almost all of your time ruminating on the past, which is often accompanied by symptoms of depression. Avoidant personality disorder also makes you obsessed with fixing yourself. You might be spending most of your free time going to therapy, reading self-help books, listening to personal growth podcasts, and watching personal growth videos. It's like you've pressed pause on your life because it feels like you need to first fix yourself before you can continue or start living your life. And the more you do this, the more it reinforces the core belief that you're broken and need to be fixed. This is why people with avoidant personality disorder belong to the group of people with personality disorders that seek therapy more commonly compared to others and other forms of personality disorders, because being someone that needs therapy, someone that's inadequate and broken and needs fixing, fits well into their self-concept. And now I'm slowly coming to some of the main points in this video. If you're like this, therapy and self-help can be part of the problem if they don't eventually help you to stop obsessing over fixing yourself. Your developmental task is to lay aside your fundamental insecurity and open yourself up to and accept radically that nothing is wrong with you, that you're good enough, and that you can stop hiding and avoiding and trying to fix yourself. A good therapist can help you get to that point, but you might also stay stuck in therapy. If this is something that you have experience with, note this. You are capable of telling whether or not therapy is helping you to at some point not need it anymore. If that's not happening for you, find a different therapist and or form of therapy. What you need is a therapist that will help you one day not need them anymore after a certain amount of time. Also, find one that's good and stick with them. Don't go to several therapists. That would be acting from your sense of deficiency, of being so deficient that you need several therapists. And that would be reinforcing your pattern. And parallel to that, parallel to therapy, take small steps to start living your life. You've been on pause long enough. You can stop hiding from the world. You're a good person, and every moment you spend hiding is a moment that the people who need you out there are missing out on you. The same applies to self-help. Self-help is great if it helps you one day not need it anymore in an obsessive way, and if it helps you stop avoiding life. But if you're using it to hide behind a book, screen, or headphones, you're integrating it into your problem and perpetuating your avoidance. Risk living your life. Risk doing what you want to do. Risk speaking up and then getting rejected or criticized. That is the only way to live a fulfilling and meaningful life. Practice defusing from instances of criticism or rejection, if they're not helpful or if you've thought about it for long enough and don't need to anymore. Risk not being liked. That's okay. It shows you have a profile and that you're capable of critical thinking. And 90% of the time when you have the impression that you're being rejected, it's most likely that it's not happening, but that it's coming from the illusion of your sense of inadequacy. You can spend your whole life in this trap of thinking you need to fix yourself before you can ask for that promotion, before you can go on that date, and consequently, you will miss out on many of the opportunities your life offers you. Stop missing out on your life. It feeds your life trap and only piles more memories onto your inner mountain of regret. Stop paying attention to the doubts about your adequacy or enoughness. You've been listening to this radio channel station for way too long already. Let it play there in the back of your mind without listening to it anymore. You can be done with this. Stop doubting and ignoring your inner truth. You've done that for too long already. Start listening to, trusting, and acting on your inner truth. Dial down on asking others for their opinion and on researching an endless amount of information before making small decisions. Find that voice inside that already knows these things and start feeding it by following it with courage. When you start trusting yourself, your spirits will lift and you will start feeling satisfied on a whole nother level from and within yourself. And you'll then realize you don't need to be the fantasy of how great you could or would need to be after you've been fixed. And you'll also see that you're not the illusion of the defective person you think you are that's incapable of living your life. And when you step away from these, you can actually, for the first time, see your real enough self. You're ready for a relationship. Go for it. Pick someone good who doesn't base their sense of self-worth on your insecurities, and you're good to go. Stop all the hypervigilance and self-monitoring. You don't need it. You're allowed to go around a corner without making elaborate plans first or analyzing every detail afterwards. For some reason, self-improvement has become a survival strategy for you. It was probably helpful at some point in the past, but now you've come to a point where it hurts you a lot. So allow yourself to realize that neither your survival nor your lovability or relationships are threatened if you stop obsessing over fixing yourself. I know this is something that's really hard for you to believe, but your main problem is insecurity and anxiety, not core deficiency. And I know this doesn't feel true to you. And someone saying that inadequacy isn't your real problem once on the internet can't really match with a lifelong feeling of inadequacy and a life trap and this deep-rooted sense of inadequacy. But just because it's always been there doesn't mean it's true. You need to start trusting yourself more and trusting these feelings of inadequacy less. You need to trust your authentic feelings more and step away from the sense and feelings of inadequacy and insecurity. I'll stop there. I wish you all the best for your journey. Till next time, take care, and remember to pull your focus away from fixing and to shift it onto living and connecting.